One of the topics I've discussed quite a bit is Christianity, feminism, and the alleged war on women. And there's a lot to be said about this, and I think there's some hardened feminists out there who don't understand the nature of Christianity. So if we look at the roots of Christianity, we could see that it is anything but antagonistic to women. As a matter of fact, the early church itself was primarily women, and there's a reason for this. As the church started to grow, what they did was they would adopt young girls that were left to die by exposure from the indigenous population of Rome. They didn't want their children if they were girls. Girls did not have a high place in that culture. And if it was found that you couldn't afford another child that was a girl, or so you thought, you wanted to have a son and you didn't value these girls, you would take them out to the dump and they would be left to die by exposure and devoured by dogs. So what the Christians did was they loved everybody. They saw value in all human life. And so what they would do is they would take these young girls, they'd raise them as their own, and they'd teach them about Jesus. And so primarily the church was women. It was overwhelmingly women. Now, when it comes to feminism, one of their tenets is they have the three Ks, as Simone de Beauvoir called them: the Kirk, the Kinder, and the Kuchen. The Kirk was the church. She thought we should get rid of the church because it defined women as submissive to husbands. She believed that we needed to get rid of the Kinder, that would be children, as in kindergarten. That's why abortion is so important to the feminist movement, because they believe that that motherhood would imprison women into the role that had been established allegedly by the dominant gender, males. And so they'd be enslaved by the children. And finally, they needed to get rid of the Kuchen, the kitchen, and that is get rid of the roles that women traditionally play. And so they were to no longer be housewives and mothers that raise their children, stay-at-home moms, soccer moms, have you. They were called to go out and, as the old perfume ad and song would say, go bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan. And so they were called out of the Kuchen and to start taking on more male type or oriented roles that were traditionally taken by men, and try to break through that glass ceiling. So whether or not it's important that women fulfill certain roles or not, it's interesting though, the church's view from the very beginning was pro-women. Moreover, when it came to the issue of abortion, such as the Kinder, the church, in one of its earliest writings, known as the Didache, was very specific that infanticide and abortion were forbidden by Christians. And this is because they saw babies in the womb as human and as creations of God. And this would have included the young girls that were being killed. So far from the church being anti-women, it was actually pro-women in its approach to try to save the young and the unborn from being killed based merely on their gender. And so the church was always pro-life. It was always pro-women. And that goes all the way back to Jesus, who listened to women, the woman at the well, and the apostles, the disciples, who took the women's testimony that the tombstone had been rolled away and that Jesus was not there and that they had seen him. And so their witness was taken seriously, whereas in Rome that never would have happened by the Roman authorities, but the Christian church did take this very seriously. So the Christian church never had a war on women. It was more a war for women. Now, as time catches up with us and we move 2,000 years into the future, and there's a belief that women shouldn't have any role within the family, we tend to miss out on the roots of feminism, truly grounded in Christian principles, that women are valuable too. And there's a big push to suggest that these roles, based on gender, are somehow antagonistic to the gender of the female gender. And that's the farthest from the case. As we can see, we do know women are different than men, and men are different than women. But and so we could see how women would excel in different roles within the family over men, and we could see how maybe perhaps men would be able to lift things better than women. But in those roles and those strengths, there's nowhere in the Christian church a devaluation of the woman. And this is one of the things that I have tried to convince my students and those with whom I speak on the issue of that women do have value in the church, and it was never the case that they were devalued. In fact, they were valued highly from the beginning.